What if the enemy isn't outside you, but inside your own mind? What if the voice keeping you awake at night, the one whispering doom into your chest, is wearing your face? Anxiety isn't always a monster clawing at the door. Sometimes it's a quiet thought you've repeated so many times, you forgot it was a lie. No. And the most dangerous lies are the ones you never realize you believe. Anxiety is rarely born from chaos. More often, it's the product of patterned, small, corrosive thoughts that wear grooves into your mind until they feel like truth. These thoughts aren't random. They're old, familiar, and they're persistent. The danger is not just that they arrive, but that we welcome them, feed them, build lives around them. Today, we're going beneath the cortex into 5 thoughts that are silently fueling your anxiety every single day. Most anxious thought patterns don't come out of nowhere. Many are seeded early in life through childhood environments that were inconsistent, emotionally unpredictable, or hypercritical. Your brain, always trying to protect you, starts creating shortcuts, mental scripts. It learns to anticipate the worst because the worst often came without warning. These thoughts are defense mechanisms, not delusions. But over time, they can harden into habits. When those habits go unexamined, they start running the show. What if something goes wrong? It's one of the most common anxious thoughts and one of the most seductive. On the surface, it sounds like caution, like wisdom. But beneath it is a need for control so deep, it strangles your ability to live. This thought isn't curiosity, it's catastrophizing. Your mind creates entire disasters in vivid detail. The plane crash, the breakup, the diagnosis. You play them on loop, thinking you're preparing, but you're only practicing panic. Consider someone who has a fear of losing their job. There's no sign they're in danger. But each day they scan their manager's tone for clues, dissect every email, reread sentences looking for hidden meanings. They tell themselves, I'm just being proactive. They're not preparing, they're suffering in advance. And the brain, trying to help, reinforces this behavior. It says, look how safe you stayed. Worry worked, but it didn't. You just survived a battle that never happened. In psychology, this is called anticipatory anxiety. And ironically, it doesn't prevent pain, it multiplies it. The more you fear the future, the less you live in the present. Have to figure it out right now. This thought creates urgency where none exists. It's the whisper that tells you you're running out of time, even when you're lying in bed. It tricks you into thinking that rest is laziness, that uncertainty is danger, and that indecision is failure. But here's the truth. This thought is a trap. It ties your self-worth to your productivity and demands answers before the questions are even clear. Imagine someone trying to make a major life decision whether to end a relationship, quit a job, or move across the country. Instead of giving themselves space, they obsess. Hours on Google, dozens of lists. Late-night spirals. They don't feel closer to clarity, only more exhausted. Because the pressure to decide overrides their ability to think clearly. This thought creates a false emergency. It hijacks your nervous system. It keeps you in fight or flight, while convincing you you're solving a problem. But clarity doesn't come faster just because you panic harder. An anxious mind is not a wise mind. They'll be upset if I say no. This one is subtle, sounds compassionate, empathetic, but it's often rooted in fear of rejection and deep emotional conditioning. You were taught that saying no is selfish, that your boundaries are a burden, and that love is something you earn by being agreeable. So now, anxiety shows up every time you think about protecting your energy. You cancel your night off to help a friend move. You say yes to extra work you don't have time for. You agree to plans you dread. Afterward, you feel drained and resentful. But instead of questioning the pattern, you blame yourself for feeling overwhelmed. You become the jailer and the prisoner. Psychologists call this people-pleasing behavior a form of self-abandonment. It's a survival strategy developed in environments where your needs were ignored or punished. And it breeds chronic anxiety because it teaches you that your safety depends on other people's approval. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you teach your body that your truth is unsafe. If I just try harder, things will get better. At first glance, this sounds like grit, like resilience. But beneath it is a toxic belief that your worth is tied to your struggle. This thought traps you in relationships, jobs, and patterns that no longer serve you. Because instead of walking away, You double down. You overthink. You overfunction. You try to earn peace instead of realizing it was never yours to earn. Take the example of someone stuck in a one-sided relationship. They're always the one apologizing, fixing, accommodating. Their partner gives them crumbs, but they convince themselves that if they just love harder, communicate better, stay patient longer, it will work. They confuse effort with progress. But anxiety grows in this space where reality is being ignored and hope is being weaponized. This isn't just emotional, it's neurological. The brain is wired for reward. When effort occasionally leads to validation, it creates a dopamine loop. You chase that feeling, even when it comes at the cost of your dignity. Sometimes trying harder is the very thing keeping you stuck. What's wrong with me? This question is the quiet echo beneath every anxious spiral. It surfaces when plans fall through, when you feel overwhelmed, when someone doesn't text back. It's the thought that turns normal human moments into evidence of personal failure. It's dangerous because it doesn't ask for understanding, demands punishment. You forget something small, an appointment, a reply. Instead of forgiving yourself, your mind spirals. I always mess things up. No one else struggles like this. You replay the mistake, magnify it, shame yourself for it. The anxiety deepens, not because of what happened, but because of how cruelly you interpreted it. This kind of self-talk often stems from perfectionism, which isn't about high standards. It's about fear of being unlovable if you fall short. And when perfection is your baseline, any mistake feels like a crisis. You're not anxious because something is wrong with you. You're anxious because you keep asking that question like it has a meaningful answer. Anxiety thrives in silence, in autopilot, in repetition. The longer these thoughts go unchallenged, the more they shape your identity. But there's a shift that can begin the moment you notice the script, the moment you ask, wait, who taught me this thought? Whose voice is this really? You reclaim power when you start treating your thoughts like visitors, not facts. When you stop asking, is this true? And start asking, is this helpful? When you allow uncertainty without collapsing into it. When you realize that sometimes rest is the most radical act of resistance in an anxious world, you don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know the future. You just have to stop building your life around thoughts that were never yours to begin with. The mind can be a haunted house or a sanctuary. You get to decide which one you build. Protect your energy. Stay curious. Subscribe for more from Beneath the Cortex.